Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick with me? Famous scenes with drama queens and heroes acted out there on the silver screen. Come grab a seat, the popcorn is on me.
Hey, welcome to Meet Me at the Movies. Noel T Manning II here, hanging out, talking movies, exploring life and its meaning. All that happens right here on Meet Me at the Movies because Thomas Manning, over to my right, brings in that depth, that knowledge, that wisdom, that introspection that makes us all wonder why we're here.
And what's wrong with his hair too? I mean, that's,
yes, yeah, we are getting the. Yeah, Greg's back there going, "What the heck?" Greg Tillman back there in Mission Control. Yeah, we are getting that viewer mail. Actually, not the non-viewer mail, but we're getting viewer mail, giving you some tips on your hair, including the former Noel T that I used to have. They say that might be something to consider. Also, the alfalfa look from Little Rascals. And a few others, but those are just a couple. And so yeah, keep those emails coming. Info at C19.TV. Is that right? C19.TV.
C19.TV.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, send us that email. Let us know what you think we should do about Thomas's hair. The best thing to take care of these lovely locks. Lovely locks. Speaking of lovely locks that can get picked, James Bond knows how to pick some locks. That's for sure. Daniel Craig.
That's a good segue there. That's solid.
Daniel Craig has been James Bond for a number of years now, and I've liked everything about previous Bonds. Well, I've liked different things about the previous Bonds. Every one of them, there's been something I like about them. But Daniel Craig has really just become my favorite. We've seen his character arc. We've seen him develop as the character, and also just. I've really enjoyed what they've been able to do with the storylines as far as tying them together in certain ways, but allowing them to stand alone. There's a documentary that's going to be released called Being James Bond. It's a retrospective film that looks at Daniel Craig as Bond. It's going to stream exclusively on Apple TV app, and it's free for anyone. And this is September 7th through October 7th, so you don't have to be a subscriber. You can stream it for free. Check it out ahead of the theatrical release for the next Bond, which is No Time to Die. That comes out on October 8th. But just wanted to mention that if you're a Bond fan, put this on your calendar. It may be worth checking out.
Yeah, No Time to Die. We've been waiting on this for a year and a half now. It was like, I believe it was the very first COVID delay or big studio COVID delay. It was originally supposed to be April of 2020.
Wow.
And that was like the first domino that dropped. And here we are 18 months later. And finally, October, it's almost here, and I think they literally can't afford to push it back again.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think at this point, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to just let it go out there. Was it Netflix that offered to buy it?
For like $600 million or something along those lines.
No.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Dude, sell it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Let Netflix do their thing.
Yeah.
It's the money, man.
Yeah.
$600 million? Come on. But anyway, check out that doc that will be available for a month. So I'm looking forward to that as well. A little sad news here. Ed Asner passed away. This guy has been pretty amazing when you look at his body of work. I know, Thomas, you got to really love him as who? Santa Claus?
Yeah, that is correct. Santa Claus in Elf. He was. Elf was a family tradition growing up.
Still is. Every Christmas Eve.
Every Christmas Eve we gather around and watch it, and he just really inhabits the role of good old Jolly Saint Nick, and by all accounts, he is that man in real life as well. Yeah. Just that warm human being, and definitely sad to see him go. But he's leaving behind a legacy that a lot of people are appreciating and will be appreciating for a long time.
Oh, absolutely. And we talk about legacy. 91 years old. He was a former president of the Screen Actors Guild. He's a TV Academy Hall of Fame member, 7-time Emmy winner. Performed on Broadway, TV, film. He did voice work for video games. And listen to this, 319 credits for TV and film over the course of his career. I think back, Mary Tyler Moore was the first time I remember seeing him, and then spinoff show, the Lou Grant Show. But Up was one that, still one of my favorite movies. When I talk about favorite films that speaks to me, that is one of those films. And Ed Asner was perfect in that. He did westerns with John Wayne. And listen to this other piece of data. Since 1957 through present day, he has pretty much worked and been credited every single year.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. Look at those credits, if you would, on IMDb. There's rarely a year that you're not going to find something. And also, this is cool. You're going to love this because you like superheroes. He played both J. Jonah Jameson and Perry White. So, you got that journalistic thing that he got back in the early days, and also played Jabba the Hutt voice work. So
did he really?
Yes, he did. Voice work for Jabba the Hutt, not in the movie,
yeah,
but in some other variations.
I was not aware of that.
And there's also 10 current projects that are either in production or post-production that he is credited with as well. So we're going to be seeing some posthumous releases with Ed Asner. Any other thoughts or comments on Ed Asner?
Oh yeah, you mentioned Up, and I do think that's one of Pixar's finest achievements. Really, just one of the finest films the past 20 years. And his character, the character arc of the character that he voices in that is just a really beautiful thing. And yeah, he's one of those. Pretty much any role you watch him in, you can probably find yourself smiling and just taking something important from that with you in your daily life afterwards. So.
Yeah, and if you look at the TV career, I mean, shows that were popular, shows like CSI, X-Files, Hawaii Five-0, he would have these small roles that would sometimes last over the course of a few episodes. But love the guy, and I'm glad that we've got this incredible body of work that we can go back and look. Ed Asner passed away at the age of 91. New films in theaters. You got a chance to check out Candyman, not Candyland, which is a game that you still play, I think, at home with Catherine. You guys play Candyland every once in a while. This is Candyman, and is it a reboot, a remake, or a sequel, Thomas?
Well, yeah, it's interesting because I went into this expecting all sorts of fun and whimsy like we have in the Candyland board game, but turns out this is an entirely different property, and I'm just kidding there. I knew what I was getting into, and you mentioned, is it a sequel, is it a relaunch, is it a reboot? And going in, I was actually sort of confused as to that myself. From the trailers, I kind of got the vibe it was pretty much a soft reboot that was going to kind of expand on the mythology of the 1992 original. And I was not really familiar with the original other than just the basic plot line, basic premise. And so I went to go see this with one of my good friends who's a big fan of the original. And as we were watching it, I could see him kind of noticing, him reacting to certain things probably more than me, just because he had a deeper connection to the original. And, that was in 1992. Here we are 31 years later. And I still was able to understand everything that was happening and, appreciate it from a filmmaking perspective. But after having a conversation with my friend afterwards, this is my friend Tremaine, he said, if you haven't seen the first one, this is almost like half of a puzzle, like the second half of the puzzle to the first movie. So I will put that out there, that considering my kind of lack of baggage, I guess, that I had a different reaction than him. But still,
so would you recommend going back and watching the original?
I probably would. Yeah,
But you don't have to.
It's not required, but it wouldn't hurt at all. So this was directed by Naya DaCosta, and this was on her second feature film. And then after this, she is going to be directing The Marvels, which is a sequel to Captain Marvel. And actually coming off of a domestic box office opening for Candyman, first black female director to have a film debut at #1. So, and especially during the pandemic, with a film that's been delayed 3 times, that's just really impressive accomplishment. So major kudos to her for that. And this is a very well directed film. Technically speaking, I think its #1 intention is to kind of unsettle both in philosophical and kind of physical ways as well. There's a lot of kind of gruesome kind of body horror, but it doesn't do so by showing you everything. It kind of hints at a lot of things that are happening, and isn't too incredibly gory. it just kind of leaves enough there for your imagination to take over and kind of fill in the gaps. But yeah, as I mentioned, philosophically, there's a lot of really scathing social commentary here as well, and it's I think it'll probably open some eyes to people who maybe haven't been haven't studied up on certain certain aspects of like social environment, like gentrification and things along those lines. And Yahya Abdul-Mateen in the lead role.
Say that again?
Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
And one more time.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
Okay.
He's our man. He's a great actor working today. I think the first time I saw him was a few years ago in Aquaman, where he played Black Manta.
Yes.
He was also in HBO's Watchmen.
Yeah.
And
great series.
Yeah, yeah. And here he is, really in a completely different role. He's playing this artist who is, we kind of realize he has a bit of a dark past, and he doesn't even fully realize his dark past. So parts of that kind of catch up with him and really affect how he moves throughout his life presently. And very kind of a slow descent into madness that we see with his character.
And that whole slow descent into madness, that happens when pretty much anybody watches this show. A slow descent into madness. Greg Tillman completely agrees, and that's why he runs this show.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really envy anybody who spends time with us. So. Yeah. But yeah, ultimately, this is one of those films that got under my skin. And
kind of like this show.
you never pass up the opportunity, do you? Yeah. And but I did walk away with a few questions, a few lingering questions that might have been more completely filled if I had studied up on the source material a little bit more.
So maybe they would have been answered more had you seen the original, or if you'd researched a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe I didn't do all the homework I should have, but
that's okay, man.
What's out of the normal there? So
You're still learning, man.
Yeah,
It's all right. It's all right. Other thoughts? Score, sound design, technical aspects of this film? Because it is a horror film.
Yeah, so mirrors absolutely play a big role in this story, both in the story from technical standpoint and narratively, and the way the reflections are captured, very unsettling.
Yeah.
You see, these characters standing in a mirror and maybe something moving a little bit in the background, maybe something over there in the corners and the shadows. And just a few times I was sitting in the theater, I was like, wow, okay.
That's creepy.
Give me a little bit of a shiver.
Okay.
And the score, very atmospheric, and same with the sound design.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I would recommend Candyman if you are someone who doesn't mind having doesn't mind having a few nightmares here and there.
Okay.
So,
all right. So, what's your rating for this?
A solid B+ for Candyman.
Okay, B+. Yeah. So it may even be higher if you'd seen it before, you think, or do
you? I think If and I dropped my notes, but we're rolling with that. Yeah.
That's okay. So you feel like it would have been higher, but B+ is still good, solid rating for Candyman in theaters now. We're going to take a quick intermission. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Coda. Apple TV film that you may want to check out. Also, Thomas has a couple, one called The Last Matinee, and we're going to talk about McCartney 321, Hulu doc. And what's this Last Milestone? Kipchoge?
Yeah, Kipchoge, The Last Milestone. That's it.
Kipchoge. So stick around for more right after this quick intermission.
Who can take a sunrise? Sprinkle it with you. Cover it with chocolate and a miracle or two. The Candyman. The Candyman. Ooh, the Candyman can. The Candyman can. The Candyman can, 'cause he mixes it with love and makes the world taste good.
Makes the world taste good.
Who can take a rainbow?
Who can take a rainbow?
Wrap it in.
Hi, I'm Tim Foster from C19 TV.
I'm Rob Root from KTCBroadcasting.com.
And I'm Fulvio Brooks from C19 TV Sports.
Join us for Armchair Quarterback, what's in store on the gridiron in 2021. Cleveland County High School football fans are excited about getting back to a full season, and we will be here to break it all down. Every week, we look at all 4 Cleveland County High School football teams. Conference foes Burns and Shelby, and conference foes Crest and Kings Mountain. We will look at what happened the week before and look ahead at what's coming up this week.
We'll also do the NFL and the Carolina Panthers.
Nobody covers Cleveland County football like Armchair Quarterback. Don't miss another great season right here on C19 TV.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch?
Well, welcome back to Meet Me in the Movies. Noel T. Manning II here with Thomas Manning to my right, and Mission Control. Yeah, Mr. Greg Tillman's back in action. So glad to see him. The energy level that just breathes off of him is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the right terminology
It
there,
wasn't.
but we're going with it. Yeah.
Yeah, so Greg Tillman, thank you, sir. Good to see. Wait a minute, that's not Greg. That's Tim Foster and Greg. Tim Foster, yeah, that's right. The guns, look at him, man. He is the man. Dang it, he's the man. You know, I wonder if he still has any eligibility. He could play some college football around here, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know about D1, but maybe
Maybe some JUCO.
D4. Is there a D4 out there somewhere? Yeah.
Oh man, there you go. Well, we talk anything right here, but movies and that type of thing is where we try to focus. There is a film that we've been trying to talk about for really a few weeks now. It's called Coda. This is a movie that's done really well on the festival circuits. Apple TV is where you can find this, Apple TV Plus. I always want to just say Apple TV, but Apple TV Plus. Coda means a child of deaf adults. It's a dramedy. It's one part comedy, one part drama. It's really organic in that way. It's a coming of age story where this daughter of deaf adults is drawn into this love of singing. So you've got this really interesting parallel between parents who can't truly appreciate the love that this daughter now has. It's a film where our lead, played by Emily Jones, who is phenomenal, she's pulled into 2 different worlds, which you see so many times in coming of age stories, and here it's done so well. It's heartwarming, it's enlightening, and it's funny. It truly is funny in that authentic and organic way. Casting is absolutely marvelous. It's one of those rare films that, to me, it was actually better than the hype. And that is so hard for a film at all to do. Watch for this during awards season. If you plan to watch this, it is, like I said, on Apple TV Plus. Have some tissues handy because your eyeballs might just sweat. This film can cause eyeballs to sweat. That's a little disclaimer I've got to throw out there. Oscar winner Marlee Matlin stars in this, and a little bit of trivia. She was 21 years old when she earned an Oscar for Children of a Lesser God back in 1986, and that was her feature film debut. We've seen her throughout the years pop up in things, but she is marvelous in this. The movie Coda, I am giving this an A+ rating. I do not give out too many A+, but it is absolutely perfect on so many different levels.
Yeah, and it's I haven't watched it yet, but it is a pretty short film, right? It's kind of like light and easy watching, and
oh, it is.
Yeah.
You want to invest your time into the story. It's not one of those that you want to pause and go back and forth, but it is short and it's engaging from start to finish.
Yeah.
So truly appreciated. Coda, well worth checking out. Well, Thomas, what have you got? What have we got next on your list?
We're talking about Kipchoge, the last milestone, I believe.
Is that right, Mr. Tillman? Is that what you've got lined up, Kipchoge? Yes, Kipchoge, the last milestone.
All right, so this is a documentary about one of the most phenomenal human achievements in athletic history.
That was Tim Foster, wasn't it? That was Tim Foster.
Not quite about Tim. Not quite about his Division IV football career. Here we are talking about the sub 2-hour marathon, running 26.2 miles in less than 2 hours, which equates to like 4 minutes and 30 seconds per mile.
Wow.
And most people can barely run an 8-minute mile. So just to put that in perspective, there was a lot of talk for many decades, is this even humanly possible?
Right.
So this documentary kind of tells a story of a team of the greatest minds, greatest scientific minds, coming together with the greatest athletes in the world to see if they can put their kind of respective areas of expertise together to produce something that will have made its mark in human history pretty much for all eternity. And so it is Eliud Kipchoge is the marathon runner from Kenya who this documentary is focused on. And this movie is directed by Jake Scott, who is the son of Ridley Scott.
Cool.
So Jake Scott has directed a lot of commercials in the past, a lot of music videos, and a few documentaries. He hasn't done a lot of like fictional narrative storytelling. But for this documentary, you can definitely tell that he's kind of in a sweet spot. He's in his groove, telling stories, but telling very entertaining stories, but keeping the focus on the humanity at the center. And it's a very beautifully shot documentary. The way that the movement is captured of these athletes, they're like these training montages that almost reminded me of a Rocky training montage. Wow. But the thing is, these are real people in real life doing these things. And of course we know Sylvester Stallone was doing a lot of those things, but that was a fictional character.
Right, this is a real guy.
Yeah, so that was separate from our own reality. But here with Kipchoge, this is a real man. Just, he's pretty much a normal guy. Like, you think it doesn't take a superhuman, it just takes a ton of dedication, a ton of hard work, and just devoting your life to a singular goal. And this documentary does a great job painting that portrait. It was one of those that in the final 15 minutes, there were a few tears that kind of welled up in my eyes, just seeing his impact on not just the people around him, but people all around the world that have been invested in his journey from an emotional standpoint. And I was very glad I got to see this, and his story is one that should be known more. But I think it's interesting how it makes sense that it's like football players and basketball players, baseball players. Those are the ones that usually are in the spotlight more. But I think endurance athletes like Eliud Kipchoge are the ones that they should be up there just as much as everybody else. So
very cool. And as someone who has had a love of running and who has followed running since you were a kid, did it add even more appreciation? And someone who was an endurance athlete as well.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I think that played a big role in its emotional impact on me personally. And I think anybody can be moved by this story, but especially those with a background in endurance sports. So
awesome. Kipchoge, The Last Milestone. What's your rating, Mr. Mann?
Solid A- for Kipchoge, The Last Milestone.
A-, Kipchoge, The Last Milestone. Where can this be found?
Well, see, I think it's available on video on demand. It was produced through NBC Productions.
Gotcha.
So they're on certain, I think they have a streaming service out there where you can find it as well.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to dive into another doc. This is a doc series, McCartney 321. You can find this on Hulu. Paul McCartney sits down with a one-on-one in-depth series of interviews with Rick Rubin, who is quite amazing in his own right from a producing standpoint. They discuss the groundbreaking work of the Beatles, the arena rock of the 70s, where Wings really came out and changed the face really of what people expected for concerts. That was groundbreaking itself with Paul McCartney. He also talks about over 50 years of being a solo artist, which is amazing. They explore the music, the creativity, and they do it in a very unique and different way. The interviews, black and white interviews, and the way it was lit, I loved this. You get this really front row understanding of who McCartney is, and there have been so many documentaries about McCartney, and there have been so many interviews throughout the years with him, but there's something about this one that you feel is even more personal. And also, Rick digs up these old Beatles tapes and outtakes and plays them and lets Paul reflect on them during that. And some of that is just, you talk about your director's commentaries when you watch Blu-rays or DVDs. It's almost like watching an artist commentary on the music with the reflections. I really, really loved that. The documentary is documentary series, 6 episodes. McCartney 3-2-1. You can find that on Hulu. A solid A+ rating. And I'm going to tease another documentary I'm going to be reviewing in future weeks called Under the Volcano, that looks at George Martin and his impact on music as a whole at this location that happened to have a volcano on it. That's a doc that I think is going to be getting some love as well. Well, Thomas, we've got 2 minutes. Do you want to dive into your quick review of The Last Matinee, or do you want to hold off on that for next time?
We can hold off on that, but I do want to comment on the McCartney doc.
Yep.
So how old is Paul McCartney now? He's in his 70s at this point, right?
He's he's way up there, man. He's in the 70s.
And so about as old as you. And and he's still making new music as well.
Yes.
And so Ruben is a great music producer, has been around with McCartney the whole time, and he's still producing a lot of great artists today. I think he's some hip hop artists even of our generation, and so it's just pretty phenomenal to see that just their lasting impact.
Yeah, and Ruben's had this love of the music of the Beatles and McCartney, and it was kind of interesting hearing from someone who is a producer of music across the genres of music, who can talk to artists in the terminology that they understand and that they love and they appreciate, but also the documentary. So I think for music fans, they're going to appreciate it. And I mean like those who are techno fans of the music,
like our
musicians.
Friend, Christian Jessup,
Yes,
friend of the
musicians
show.
are going to love this, but also just fans of music in general, I think, are going to love it. And if you are a fan of anything relating to the Beatles or McCartney, it is a must-see, and absolutely must-see. And you've grown up listening to the music of the Beatles and McCartney. I mean, you couldn't get away from that in your household. So.
Yeah, you raised me right. So,
so are there any Beatles or McCartney songs that particularly speak to you?
Let's see, I think we got to go, Hey Jude has just been one of those forever and ever that I've always gone back to. And kind of the story behind it, I know it was written for Julian Lennon when his parents were going through divorce. And but I think there are like probably 50 other Beatles songs that can speak like that to individual people in different ways.
Yeah,
so.
and I think anybody who has a love for the Beatles or a love for the solo work of the Beatles, if you ask them, do you have songs that speak to you from these artists, I think everybody will have something to say. So, there's so many, I can't even begin to give you one, but a quick recommendation from the vault yesterday. If you haven't seen that film and you love the music of the Beatles, you need to check that out.
We got Himesh Patel in the lead role for that. Just a beautiful, charismatic performance, and just beautiful ode to the Beatles music.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate everybody spending time with us right here on Meet Me at the Movies. I want to leave you with a movie quote of the week, as we always try to do. Missing people is part of this world. Without that sadness, you can't taste the sweet. That comes from the movie Reminiscence that we reviewed last week right here on Meet Me at the Movies. Thomas Manning, thanks for joining us. Greg Tillman, thanks for taking care of the show. Thanks for taking care of the show this week. Appreciate that very much. And Tim Foster, hey man, keep working. We might be able to get you some eligibility for that D4 school. We'll have to wait and see. Until next time, I'm Noel T. Manning II. For Meet Me at the Movies, that's a wrap.
Many films to view until we meet again. Next time we